A man came to me after my lecture in Los Angeles just 3 weeks ago. He told me he had been practicing the law for 2 years. 2 years. He had imagined his desire every night before sleep. He had felt it real. He had constructed the scene, replayed it, refined it, and yet nothing, not one single change in his outer world. I asked him one question: can you go a day without thinking about it? He looked at me as though I had gone mad. Neville, he said, if I stop thinking about it, how will it ever come to pass? And there, my friend, is the mistake. The very mistake that keeps 99 out of 100 from ever seeing their assumption harden into fact. You see, the moment you stop thinking asterisk about asterisk, it is not the moment you lose it, it is the moment it arrives. I know this sounds contrary to everything you believe about effort and persistence, but listen carefully tonight because I am going to show you why your very effort, your anxious, unceasing mental labor, is the one thing keeping your desire at a distance. The work is not what you think it is, and the rest, my dear, is not laziness, it is the Sabbath, the seal, the proof that your assumption is complete. Let me show you where you are going wrong. Now let me tell you exactly where you are going wrong. The first mistake is this. You are thinking asterisk of asterisk your desire instead of thinking asterisk from asterisk it. Listen carefully. There is a vast difference between these two mental positions. If you do not grasp this difference, you will labor your entire life and never see the fruit of your imaginations. When you think asterisk of asterisk a thing, you are separated from it. It is over there, you are over here, and you are trying, straining, reaching across a gap to bring it to you. But that very reaching confesses that you do not have it. The gap remains. The desire stays external. When you think asterisk from asterisk a thing, you have collapsed the distance. You are not reaching for it, you are standing in it, you are looking out from the reality of the wish fulfilled, not looking at it from the outside. Let me give you an example. If I am in New York and I desire to be in California, I can think asterisk of asterisk California all day long. I can picture the palm trees, imagine the ocean, feel the warmth of the sun. But if I am thinking asterisk of asterisk it, I am still confessing that I am in New York. I am here, looking westward, longing for what I do not have. But the moment I think asterisk from asterisk California, the moment I see through Californian eyes, feel the ground beneath my feet as Californian soil, smell the Pacific air, I am no longer in New York in consciousness. I have moved, and consciousness is the only reality. Now you may say to yourself, Neville, I have assumed it, I have imagined it, I feel it is real. But I ask you this, are you at rest? If you are not at rest, you are still thinking asterisk of asterisk it, not asterisk from asterisk it. When you are truly thinking asterisk from asterisk the wish fulfilled, there is no anxiety, no longing, nothing to reach for because you are already there. The desire ceases to be a desire, it becomes your natural dwelling place. And the moment it becomes natural, the moment you forget, you are assuming you have entered the state. That forgetting is not loss, it is success, it is the Sabbath. But hold this thought, my friend. There is a specific signal, a test you can apply to yourself right now to know whether you have truly entered the state or are still reaching for it. Without that signal, you will labor for months and never know whether the assumption has taken root. I will give you that signal in just a moment. But first, I must show you the second mistake, because this one is even more common. Boy, the second mistake is confusing repetition with dwelling. Many of you believe that persistence means repeating an affirmation over and over, replaying a scene in your mind 100 times a day, forcing yourself to think of your desire constantly. You lie awake at night replaying the scene, you wake in the morning and immediately return to it. You check yourself throughout the day, am I feeling it? Am I maintaining it? Am I doing enough? Now I must insist on this, my friend. That is not persistence, that is anxiety. And anxiety is the confession that you are not in the state. Do not let anyone, including yourself, talk you out of this distinction. If you are anxious, you have not yet assumed the wish fulfilled. True persistence is not repetition, it is dwelling. And dwelling is not something you do, it is something you are. Let me tell you what I mean. You do not persist in being yourself. You do not wake each morning and remind yourself of your name, rehearse your identity, work to maintain the feeling of being who you are. You simply are, natural, effortless. You dwell in it without thought. When your assumption has truly been accepted, it becomes just as natural. You do not labor to maintain it, you live from it. And the test of whether you have truly assumed it is simple. Can you go about your day without thinking about it? If you cannot, you are not yet dwelling. You are still reaching. I recall a woman who came to me many years ago when I was lecturing in New York. She had been trying for 18 months to manifest reconciliation with her son. They had been estranged for 3 years. She had imagined the reconciliation, she had felt the embrace, she had constructed scene after scene of him calling her, visiting her, sitting at her table again. But every morning she woke with the same anxious thought. Will today be the day? She checked the mail. She kept her telephone near. She analyzed every sign, every possible opening. 18 months of this, and nothing had changed. I asked her, "What do you do all day?" She said, "I imagine the scene, I replay it. Over and over. I try to feel it as real. I am doing exactly what you taught, Neville." I said, "No, my dear, you are not." She was confused, hurt even. She had been so diligent. I said, "If your son were already reconciled to you, if he called you every week and visited you regularly, would you spend your day imagining that he calls you?" She said, "Of course not. I would simply live my life knowing he is part of it." I said, "Then that is what you must do now. Stop imagining asterisk that asterisk he will call. Start living asterisk from asterisk the state in which he already does." At first she resisted. She said, "But Neville, if I stop imagining it, if I stop working at it, won't I lose it?" And I told her what I am telling you tonight. The moment you can stop working at it is the moment you have truly assumed it. She went home, and for the first time in 18 months, she did not replay the scene. She did not check the telephone with anxious hope. She simply lived her day as the woman whose son was reconciled to her. She set a place for him at the table in her mind, not as a technique, as a fact. 3 days later, he called. 3 days. After 18 months of anxious repetition, 3 days of rest brought the thing to pass. You see, my friend, she had been laboring, and labor is for the 6 days of creation. But the Sabbath is rest, and the Sabbath is the seal of completion. Now, here is where the lecture turns, my friend. Most who hear me understand the first two mistakes. But there is a third mistake, one that I see more than any other, and it is the one that keeps people trapped in striving even when they believe they have entered the state. There is a specific action most of you are taking every single morning that undoes every assumption you made the night before. I must tell you what that action is now, for without correcting it, no technique will ever work for you. The third mistake is seeking signs in the outer world. The world will tell you to watch for signs, to look for synchronicities, to track the evidence that your manifestation is coming. I tell you they are wrong. The moment you begin to look outward for evidence that your assumption is working, you confess that you are not in the state. I have said it before and I will say it again. Consciousness is the only reality. The outer world is shadow, effect, not cause. It reflects your inner state, but it does not create it. When you are truly in the wish fulfilled, you are indifferent to present appearances. You do not need the outer world to confirm what you already know inwardly. You asterisk, no asterisk, it is done because you are resting in the inner reality of it, and that inner knowing is the only sign you need. But most of you reverse this. You imagine for a day, a week at most, and then you begin to look. You check your circumstances. You analyze the behavior of others. You search for clues, for movement, for any small indication that the outer world is shifting. And the moment you do this, you have left the state. You have returned to the old consciousness, lack, separation, waiting for something external to validate your inner work. There is no such thing as waiting for a sign from the outer world. Put it from your mind. Signs follow. They do not precede. And the only reliable sign is internal. The peace, the knowing, the rest. Let me tell you of my own experience. You have heard me speak of my passage from Barbados to New York in 1933. I had no money, I had no visa. Every outer circumstance said it was impossible. I was a young man working in my father's store, and there was no logical path from that island to the life I desired in New York. But I assumed I was in New York. I felt the streets beneath my feet. I heard the sounds of the city. I lived in that state in my imagination until it became more real to me than Barbados itself. Now, at first, I looked for signs. I watched for letters. I waited for some outer door to open. But nothing came, and as long as I was seeking outward, I was confessing inwardly that I was still in Barbados, still waiting, still separated from my desire. Then one day I stopped looking. I rested in the inner conviction that I was already there in consciousness. And the moment I rested, the moment I ceased my anxious outward seeking, the path opened. Within days, the impossible became possible. My brother offered to pay my passage. The visa came through channels I had not even considered. It was done, but it was not done when I was looking for it to be done. It was done when I rested in the knowledge that it already was. Do you see the pattern now? Remember what I told you a few moments ago about thinking asterisk from asterisk instead of thinking asterisk of asterisk? All three mistakes stem from the same root. You are attempting to rest before doing the work, or you are continuing to labor after the work is done. The Sabbath, my friend, only comes after creation. Scripture tells us that God created for 6 days, and on the seventh day he rested. He did not rest on the first day. He did not rest in the middle of his labor. He rested when the work was complete. And how did he know the work was complete? Because he could rest. The rest itself was the proof. You cannot force rest. You cannot pretend to rest when you are still anxious, still striving, still checking the outer world for validation. That is not rest, that is suppression. But when the assumption is truly complete, when you have fully entered the wish fulfilled, rest comes naturally. You can go about your day without anxious thought. You can sleep peacefully. You can live as though the thing is already done, because in consciousness it is. And the test is simple. Can you go a day without thinking about it? Can you go a week? If you can, you are in the Sabbath. If you cannot, return to the assumption. Do the work, enter it, and then, my dear, rest. I tell you with certainty, and this is not opinion, it is law. Creation is finished. All things already exist in the infinite states of consciousness. You are not creating something new. You are selecting which state you will occupy, and the moment you fully occupy that state, the outer world must conform to it. It has no choice. Consciousness is cause. The world is effect. But you must give it time to harden into fact. Not time in the sense of waiting passively, but time in the sense of dwelling in the state long enough that it becomes natural to you. And you will know it has become natural when you stop thinking about it. An assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. But the persistence is not anxious repetition. It is the natural dwelling of one who has become what he formerly only desired to be. Before I tell you how to apply this tonight, my friend, there is one final thing. There is a specific moment, the moment just before sleep, when the assumption either takes root in your deeper self or evaporates entirely. Most who practice the law miss this moment. They do the technique, but they do not recognize when to stop, when to let go, when to rest. And so they lie awake, forcing, straining, and the assumption never takes. I must show you that precise moment now, for it determines whether the law works for you tonight or remains theory. Now let me show you how to apply this beginning tonight. Tonight, when you retire to your bed, you will do this. You will not labor for hours. You will not strain and struggle to maintain a thought. You will do the work briefly, naturally, and then you will rest. First, as you lie in your bed, you will enter that drowsy state, that state akin to sleep. This is the most impressionable moment. The gate between the conscious and the subconscious is open. What you impress here will be accepted. Second, in that drowsy state, you will construct a brief scene, no more than a few seconds in duration. A scene that implies your desire is already fact. Not that it will be, that it is. A handshake, a letter received, a friend congratulating you. Something simple, something that could not happen unless your desire were already fulfilled. Third, you will loop this scene gently, naturally, as though you are remembering something that happened today. You are not forcing it, you are not gripping it tightly, you are simply resting in the feeling of its reality. And fourth, you will let yourself drift into sleep within that assumption, not thinking about the desire, not wondering when it will come, not analyzing whether you did the technique correctly, but simply resting in the knowledge that in consciousness it is done. Now here is the key, and listen carefully. If you find yourself lying awake, striving, working at it, forcing the scene to replay over and over, you have missed the point entirely. You are laboring, and if you are laboring, you are not in the Sabbath. The Sabbath rest must be present even in the technique. You are not creating through effort. You are resting in what is already created in consciousness. So if the scene drifts away, let it. If you fall asleep before it repeats even once, that is fine. The important thing is not the repetition of the scene, it is the state you fall asleep in. Did you fall asleep in the wish fulfilled? Did you rest in it? That is all that matters. And then, my friend, tomorrow when you wake, do not check for signs, do not analyze the outer world, do not test whether it is working. Simply go about your day as the one who already has what he desired. Live in the end. And if anxious thoughts arise, if you find yourself slipping back into the old state of longing and separation, do not condemn yourself. Simply return to the assumption, gently, naturally. Feel the wish fulfilled again, and rest. Do this, and I promise you the moment will come when you realize you have not thought about your desire in days. And that realization will not frighten you, it will assure you, because you will know that you have entered the Sabbath, the work is complete, and the outer world must now reflect the inner fact. The moment you stop thinking asterisk about asterisk, it is the moment it arrives. Not because you have given up, not because you have stopped caring, but because you have stopped laboring and entered the rest of God in His creation. And now I tell you, my friend, the secret you have been searching for is not a secret at all. It has been hiding in plain sight in every word I have spoken tonight. The moment you stop thinking asterisk about asterisk, it is the moment it arrives, because that is the moment you have stopped treating it as external and have begun to think asterisk from asterisk it as internal reality. You see, the state, my friend, is everything. When you assume the wish fulfilled, you do not perform a technique. You enter a state of consciousness, and from that state, the world has no choice but to rearrange itself to conform to your assumption. The Sabbath rest is not passivity, not giving up. It is the quiet confidence of one who knows the work is complete in consciousness, and consciousness the only reality there is. Tonight, when you retire to your bed, do this just once. Enter that drowsy state, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and rest in it. That is all. No effort, no straining, no checking tomorrow morning to see if it worked. Simply assume the state and sleep in it. In the morning, you may find that consciousness has done its perfect work overnight. Or you may find that the assumption must be persisted in for several nights, several weeks, until it hardens into fact. Both are well, my friend, both are well. What matters is not the time it takes. What matters is that you truly enter the state and rest there. The Sabbath is the seal of completion. Remember always, imagining creates reality. An assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. You are not waiting on the world to change. You are not waiting on another person, a circumstance, a condition. You are waiting only on yourself, on your full acceptance of the state you desire to occupy. And the moment you accept it, the moment you rest in it as you rest in sleep, it is done. May you sleep tonight in the Sabbath rest of your fulfilled desire. May your assumption become as natural to you as breathing, and may you wake to find the world rearranged to reflect the inner fact. Go now into your inner world, do the work, and rest. Until we meet again, my friend, may you live in the end.